Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of Late Night Q&A with ZodWriter. This is episode 55, and with me, I have the pleasure and the privilege to welcome a man that I've followed on the internet for a while, and I'm so glad to have you here. And my God, man, I feel like just talking to you for those brief moments that we've spoken on and off on Twitter, and then just right before the show, I feel like I could talk to you about anything. You seem like a real cool and down to earth dude. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him. You know who this guy is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is TurboJoe.
What is up, my friends?
I shouldn't have to say anything else, y'all. It's TurboJoe. This is gonna be a great stream. I already know we got a ton of great stuff to talk about, and the chat is already lightening up here. We got Mike Hawkhurst here with saying that he is first, and we got Endless One Up. What's up, man? Saying this will be a great show. And he also says Zod is the man, and so is TurboJoe. We got my man OTG in the chat. What's up with Pow Pow? Let's do this. And we've got the great and beautiful Rhea in the chat saying hit that like button. And we've got, this is fantastic. So many great people here in the chat. We got your average gamer. My brother from another mother. No gloves tonight. Yeah, absolutely not. You're not going to have any gloves. You already know your average gamer. Me at Turbo as well. We tell it like it is, and you're going to get the real stuff. And that's why I say I don't care what the haters think. I don't care what people think. I just say what I say, and hopefully people, if you're down with it, good. If you're not, that's not really my problem. And we got Papa Brad here, and we've got the great To Die For, clean like a mother. Yeah. Gotta love Bobby Vu. There's nobody better. And wow, this is great, man. So we're just gonna get started. Joe, what's going on, man?
Happy Mother's Day, ladies and gentlemen.
To all the moms.
Yeah, it's a nice day today.
It's all the dads too, because there's a lot of dads out there that play the dual mom and dad role too. So
that is true.
In today's world, happy Mother's Day to all.
It's tough. Wow. It's a tough job being mommy. It's a really tough job. It's one of the most underrated jobs in the world, man. They raise the warriors. You know what I mean? That do all the bidding.
So the first question I got for you, man, and we got to address the elephant in the room here. How many fish do you got in that tank behind you, brother?
So I have 4 aquatic turtles, and then I have 1 vegetarian turtle that stays on the land.
They're all turtles.
Land part.
Nice.
They're all turtles. Wrong. Yeah.
Awesome.
I guess with the light glare, and since I have the background lighting off, you can't really see in the tank as well. But yeah, they're bugging out because I didn't feed them today. I'm fasting them today because yesterday they overdid it. I fed them too much, so sometimes I'll skip a day just for their own health. Because if you can't overfeed them in the wild, they're not going to be overgorging like Thanksgiving Day every day. So I kind of keep them I have a strict regimen with them guys. I really adore those turtles. I've kept turtles and fish tanks my whole life. It's like part of my video game hobby. It's one of my main hobbies: aquatic tanks. Turtles, aquatic tanks, video games, sports, and I've really taken on to the electric skateboarding scene over the last fucking year, man. I'm it's like a real life video game. I know a lot of people are really. I come from a snowboarding and skateboarding background, but with these boards these days, you don't even need you can just a 40-year-old guy that's never been on a board before can get on one, and go to town, and within a few days, learn and be confident on it. It's just so much fun, and there's ways to relieve stress and get out of the house and shit like that. And that's one of those great things, when you're not playing video games and you need something to do. And I really adore those fucking boards, man. I've been covering it on my channel.
I've noticed there's a reason why you consider yourself on your YouTube channel to be an adventurer as well, because you're doing a lot of stuff. You're out there obviously touching grass, not just playing video games, but people know you as TurboJoe. They know you as a video game guy, and they know you as a real guy. So ultimately, man, what are your feelings right now on the home arcade scene and retro games in general in 2022?
Well, with my channel, I like to influence guys my age, to show people,
Yeah,
hey, you can do this, there's things you can do here outside of gaming, and I try and like tell people out there that are like, my age, that are overweight, that they need to like, keep their, get their health in order, because you got one life, you know what I mean? And as you get older, and if you're not taking care of yourself, like once you hit 40, that's like the turning point where the sugar drinks, the friggin' Big Macs, and all that shit has to come under, some kind of you can't, once you hit a certain age, you know what I mean, like your body's just not going to be able to flush all that shit out of you, and keep up with the amount of junk you eat. So at some point you got to come into an intervention with your own health. Otherwise, it's gonna be a short life for a lot of young men. Men die young. The average woman's life expectancy is around like 70, 78, where a man, it's like almost 10 years younger than that. We don't live as long as women. And it's because we take a lot of on our shoulders. We hold a lot of stress, and we keep a lot of shit bottled up, and we don't take care of ourselves. That's why we drop dead before they
and
do.
we continue to eat the Big Macs, and that's
Right, that crap. But your question, the arcade scene. I got 10 machines in my room. I have room for more, but at this point, I'm gonna be a little bit picky. And the arcade era would last for like only maybe 25 years. It was a short-lived era from like since Space Invaders to like one of the last Street Fighter alphas that were coming through the arcades. Like it was like 25 years of machines. So there's only so many machines out there that any collector is going to want to acquire, unless you're trying to get everything, which I'm particular with my machines, so I'm going to be picky going forward when it comes to arcade machines. And the last, like, looking at the next 10 months or so, I don't see anything that I want. Like the NBA Jam, I'm going to pass. There's just the Dragon's Lair, Double Dragon, stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm going to pass. I've been hanging out more on that iArcade, especially now that it's gone online.
Oh, it's a beautiful cabinet. I love the iArcade just because of the sheer potential of what the iArcade could do. Because back in the day, I was really, really hard on iArcade to the point where iArcade had me blocked on Twitter at one point. But the reality is that as time went on, and when I finally got an iArcade, I realized the error of my ways and was like, man, this is a great arcade slash console. I mean, there's so much goodness on here. I mean, if you like games from the 80s and 90s, iArcade is the way to go for the more obscure titles that are never going to get released on, like, say, an Arcade 1-Up or anything like that. So you're in luck if that's something that you want, and they've got so many games to choose from, and they keep adding games from week to week.
Almost every week there's another great addition that
I'm
like,
me, and them going online, like you said, that's the best thing that they could have done, honestly.
And people were saying that it runs like shit. I played with Overthink Gaming last week, and we had a ball. We played like 2 hours almost. It went by so fast. And then the other night I was playing with my daughter. We were playing Bomb Squad, and I mean, these little $5-10 games have amazing like replay value. It's like the console for guys our age. You know what I mean? Like, kids in their 20s are buying PS4, PS5. Us guys, like, a lot of us that are still into retro, this is like the console for you. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to the future of iArcade. I'm hoping people buy that machine, so it just gets into like a larger pool of audience where they can go after the bigger titles, man.
Right. I've said this before. iArcade should be competing in the same market as PlayStation, Xbox,
It's
because
console.
they're essentially a console.
Yeah, it's an arcade console.
So there's no reason why you couldn't see the iArcade at some point get the Contra collection or the Castlevania collection or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever else collection, Tekken, Neo Geo, whatever, because iArcade has the hardware. They have the capability to basically run everything. And I remember telling my dad at one point, because my dad built the iArcade for me. And I remember telling him my biggest criticism of this machine was the fact that it was like buying a, PlayStation 5 to run Atari 2600 games, because they're not taking full advantage of the capabilities that they have to, and the games that they could be putting out. But as I got into it and started to see more and more of the releases, and I had a couple of conversations on Facebook with Jong, and got to really see what they were, what it was all about and stuff. Now, I mean, it's one of my favorite cabinets.
Yeah, me too. It's an art. So I remember growing up in the late 80s and 90s, going to the arcades. I love the arcades, and we'd play 8-bit versions on our Nintendo. We played the 16-bit versions on our Genesis and Super Nintendo. Never played the arcade. You could never enjoy the arcade versions because you always had to pump quarters in them. Now these days you get the actual arcade ports, and they're different, and they're in some cases, a lot of cases, they're better than our 16 and 8-bit ports. So it's like I'm getting to play these games all over again with versions that I've never played. And like you said, they find these hard to find obscure games, European titles that were never released here. They find ways of being creative and find those little gems that quality, in my opinion. And I'm looking forward to it. More stuff.
Absolutely. And Mike Hawk says, I'm going to get picky on adding more one-ups, maybe Daytona USA and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'll make room for those two. I'm going to be honest with you. I really have no desire to get any of those. I'm kind of at the point where I feel like I've got everything that I want. I've got like 5 cabinets right now. And for me, iArcade is kind of the cherry on top, because you can keep legitimately adding new titles to the system.
Real ports. Yep, official ports. Yep.
Yeah,
and that's how you said you're good at 5, and that's where I am at about 10. There's only a few more that I will like jump.
Well, Joe, I live in a small apartment, and I think it's hilarious that I have as many cabinets that I do.
I'm like, space saver design that people make fun of. It's designed that way so you can stack. I have a small basement. My basement isn't the length of my whole house. It's like half my house, and this is considered my space. So I have, of course, a small little like 20-foot, 20-foot space. I have, 10 machines going across. If they were full-size machines, maybe I get 4, 5.
Right. Full size. Yeah. And who wants, the idea with the full-size machines is, you're talking about 400 pounds.
Right. I couldn't get them down in my basement. People, like, they make fun of the size of these things, but the reason why they sell is because they're practical. We're not buying no pizzeria machines and putting them and trying to get them down in our basement with a forklift. It's just not going to happen for us. We want new stuff. We want stuff made for us. You know what I mean? Not made for pizzeria.
And because I remember my whole thing was, and my favorite retail cabinet to ever come out is the Neo Geo MVSX. I absolutely love that. I'm an unapologetic Neo Geo fan. I grew up there was a Pizza Hut by my house growing up, and I used to they always had the big red Neo Geo cabinet.
Yeah.
Every time I went to that Pizza Hut, they always had it. And they also had the Pac-Man table,
the cocktail. At the Pizza Hut. Yeah.
At the Pizza Hut. And the thing is, it's like there's this nostalgia for that, and that Neo Geo MVSX totally scratches that itch. So for me, that's like my favorite cabinet. When they put that out, I was like, my God, this is. And I always said to myself, well, gee, there's so many different cabinets that you can have, because I've got a multicade, I've got with all the that has like thousands of games on it and that kind of thing.
You wind up not playing any of them,
and that's fun. But you know what I do? I stick to my favorites list. Right. There's like maybe 12 or 13 games in the favorites list, and that's where I go all the time when I want to play certain things that are not like. I'm a big fan of Konami's Violent Storm. I play that game all the time, and that game is in my. Because I know there's never going to be a Violent Storm cabinet, So I play that game all the time on a multi-game. Maybe iArcade could pick that up. I wouldn't be surprised. You and I were talking in DMs on Twitter about Pit Fighter.
Oh yeah, because I remember you mentioning in an interview how much you adored Pit Fighter, and same here, bro. I didn't play too much of the arcade, but I remember popping some quarters in there, but expensive. But when I got that on the Genesis, man, I really played the hell out of that. Me
The
and my brother would
Genesis
play
port is
co-op together.
phenomenal.
Phenomenal, man. I
A
still
lot
play
of
it.
people don't realize
Oh
just how great the Genesis port was,
yeah,
because they were the Genesis port almost got a sequel. It was in development, Pit
it was
Fighter
done
2. It was and
so
it was
close to the
I think it
original
was
port. I mean,
and I think it was
quality.
completed too. I think Pit Fighter 2 was completed, but it just never got released. So I'm hoping someday there'll be like a ROM dump for Pit Fighter 2. Because
Oh
it would be
yeah, I
nice to
needed it.
see
I
what
needed
that
it.
is. But for me, so many people hate on Pit Fighter now.
No,
And
I
what
don't
you got to
see it.
remember is, if it wasn't for Pit Fighter,
Right, it's a
you probably
bridge
wouldn't
game.
have Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, the first digital, translation to, real images translated onto a TV's, video game screen. First time, yeah.
And Papa Brad's Gaming says iArcade is going to find the games we missed in the arcade that were good. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
they're doing a
it's
good
great about
job.
them. Yeah,
They're doing a good job because releasing Rastan 3 Warrior Blade.
I got that one. Yeah, man,
Oh,
nice.
you talk about a classic. You talk about a game that
I love Lost on.
everybody loves. I was never really a big fan of Rastan 1 and 2, but I love that third one.
Mm.
That
I
third
remember
one.
the original, and there was nothing like it. This big barbarian. It kind of came out like right after like Arnold Schwarzenegger's like Conan the Barbarian. And so you have Rostam with this big diesel guy with the sword just slicing people up, man. And then that kind of like paved the way for Golden Axe, man, which that was Golden Axe. That game blew me away when I saw it at the laundromat. Amazing Golden Axe, man.
Yeah. But that's where I used to play Pit Fighter. I used to play Pit Fighter at the mall and at the laundromat. There was always a Pit Fighter, and I don't know. I always sit here and wonder what happened to all those machines. That's why I'm seriously hoping that iArcade picks up Pit Fighter, because that'd be a day one purchase for
That
me.
was a Midway. Owned
Atari.
Yeah, Atari Midway. Yeah, Atari Midway. Yeah, good game.
Your average gamer says, I'm moving into the basement. Save me a spot. And we've got Rexer would call you nuts with these tiny machines.
A lot of guys that can have the luxury of their own space, their own game room, which not every gamer gets to get that. Their wives say no or whatever, they don't have the space. But any guy that has the privilege of their wife allowing them to have a space for themselves. Sometimes it's not even, I don't even have to turn these machines on for like weeks at a time. I just look at them, and it just takes me back. You know what I mean? And that for me is worth the $500 if I never play it for an entire year. Sometimes I just want it for that, and even although I'm an avid gamer and I play my machines, but when UAG says that, I just like to look at them, I understand, man, because sometimes I just need to sit there on my lounge chair and with a drink and just look at my machines, and I don't need to play them.
I was talking to my father on the phone the other day, and I said sometimes I feel like I have this weird attention deficit disorder, because sometimes I like to just turn on all my arcade machines and just listen to the noise.
You're not alone, bro.
Leave them in a track mode, and just
that's what this brand gives you, the ambience of all those lights and noise and bleeps and blurps. You could turn any spare bedroom into.
It keeps your mind working. It keeps your mind going. You don't realize that what people don't realize about nostalgia is that there's a direct link to you being cognizant of things that keeps your mind, keeps the lights on in your brain. Literally, you're thinking, you're firing on all cylinders, thinking of all of these magical times, and it's almost like some people would say, well, Zod, that's kind of like Peter Pan syndrome. Y'all are grown men and you can't get over your arcade machines. But these machines,
that's what my mother-in-law once called me, Peter Pan,
have a special place in your heart that's never going to go away. OTG, my boy OTG, he says Rexer would laugh at your small machines, Joe.
Well, so what does Rexer have?
What's your opinion on Rexer? I've interviewed Rexer before. Rexer is cool as far as I'm concerned. What I like about Rexer is he's another nonsense guy where he has his view. He has his view, and he doesn't really care what anybody thinks.
Yeah, no, that I agree with. So with Rexer, been following his content for about almost a year and a half. He like came to me one time in a live stream, and he asked to interview me, and I didn't even know who he was. I thought he was like trolling me. So I had to actually like after a live stream look him up, and I'm like, oh, this guy must know me. All right, whatever. That's how I got to know Rexer, and he's a great dude, man. Not only is he a well-spoken, soft-spoken gentleman behind the scenes, you would never realize that he's all loud and
you know who he kind of reminds me of when he talks. Sometimes he kind of reminds me a little bit of Steve Guttenberg.
Well, I don't know who that is though.
The actor from like the Police Academy movies from the 80s and the Short Circuit.
What character did he play?
He played Mahoney.
Oh, okay, I know Mahoney. All right. So, Rexer, all right. The whole Arcade 1-Up thing, it's a way to grow a channel. I feel like he's not authentic if everything about Arcade 1 is bad. You're not being honest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, all right, so you're an arcade, you're an avid retro and arcade guy, so make arcade content. Why do you need to always go back to Arcade 1-Up and talk shit about it? You know what I mean? I just don't understand it. If you're being like authentic and real, move on already. You've already said and recycled the same shit about Arcade 1-Up. Yeah, they're small, they're cheap, everything sucks. I know it. But meanwhile, the company continues to grow, but you can't acknowledge that. You know what I mean? Like acknowledge some things about the brand. It's just my opinion.
Well, he did. In all fairness, he did actually defend those. All right. Those what do you call those? Those little cabinets, ones, the little miniature cabinets that everybody was crapping on. He actually defended those.
He's got to go against the grain because everyone else doesn't like it, so he's gonna like it. You know what I mean? Like that's how Rexer rolls, man.
And I thought he was 100% right when he went off about the Shaq edition of NBA Jam from 1-Up, because here's the thing. When it was announced, everybody was talking about it like it was fantastic. It was wonderful.
I don't think so. I know me, the three amigos, we weren't like head over heels.
Maybe not you guys, because you guys are pretty real. So I don't, I mean, I know I personally didn't care for it. I would never get the Shaq edition. I was never really that big of a fan of NBA Jam to begin with. The most I would get for NBA Jam, if I was going to get an NBA Jam cabinet, would be like a Countercade. So I was totally cast out of that market. There would be no way that I would even do it. But my thing with you was when you put out your video about Golden Tee,
right,
and you put to rest the argument about the screen being washed out.
You got to make shit up. You know what I mean? Because that's an almost perfect machine that I got. I've reviewed. The only machine I didn't review is my Burger Time, and I eventually I want to talk about my Burger Time cab. But the Ridge Racer I noticed a noticeable improvement as things have gone on, especially with the Golden Tee. That's high quality, and to nitpick that monitor is all you're doing is nitpicking, and no one. I feel like if you're commenting on that monitor and you don't own one, you don't really know what it looks like, because any review of that monitor is coming from either a cell phone or another camera. So another camera is relaying back what that monitor looks like. So you're not even seeing it with your own eyes. You know what I mean? And I made my follow-up review video, and I used my phone, and I felt like it looked more than acceptable, through the camera, through my phone lenses. You know what I mean? And I just feel like people are nitpicking and just trying to find something to shit on it about. And that's what Rexer was reaching for. And then you're seeing he doesn't have room. There's plenty of room to roll that ball, unless you're trying to throw a karate punch.
What was the word you used? A basketball, a palm size.
Yeah. Because people are saying that the damn thing's too small. I could palm a basketball. I got like giant monster hands, and I got plenty of fucking space. So if I got space to play, you guys are full of shit saying there's no room. Like, what do you need? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go play real golf if you need that kind of space. You know, all you need is a little quick little
real
flip.
golf.
Yeah, right. These guys probably never even touched a real club. You know? Some of these guys.
Papa Brad's Gaming brings up another really great obscure game on the iArcade. I don't know if you've played Thunder Hoop 2, but I highly recommend it. It is
it's a shooter, like a Contra shooter.
It's a Contra type shooter, and it just the graphics are amazing, and the visuals are fantastic. It's a glory game. It's a fun game. To me, it's my favorite game on the iArcade.
It's an excellent game. I've been telling your average gamer to try it for 6 months, and he refuses to acknowledge it.
Oh my god, I love it! I'm
not playing those. It sounds stupid. Thunder Hoop crap. I'm not playing those.
It's very. You know what it reminds me of? It's very anime centric. So if you
the animation.
If you like anime, it really has that feel to like old school 90s anime. Like
for me, it gives me the what's it called? The heavy slug metal slug vibes, you know?
Yeah.
Excellent quality graphics, the animation. When you shoot somebody, they blow up into like, pink dust. It's a great, it's a great pixel shooter. I love it. Love it. It's like $10. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, we got to say we love the Laundromat. I think 90% of us can say that our love for arcades started in the Laundromat as kids.
Hell yeah. For me, it was the video rental store for me. Because I was fortunate to have my mother had a washing machine. So for me, it was going to rent movies, and we had in the rental place by my house they had all the good machines in the back, man. So I got Double Dragon. I remember playing WrestleFest was on back there. Over the years they cycle machines in and out of there. He always had whatever was popping that year. He always had the hits in there, and that's how I got to play a lot of my, a lot of these arcade machines I discovered in that Captain Video store.
Your average gamer says, I think John has mentioned an iArcade liked too many posts from Street Fighter, the movie, the game. I think that is a strong possibility for an iArcade title. I would love it. I think they should get it. I've been playing that game. Like, ironically, I missed my match yesterday. I tried to make it in time, and I ended up missing my match. I had trained all week to play, and the only character I was using was Ken, and I trained all week. I feel like I got pretty good with Ken, and then I didn't make my match. I was so heartbroken, but I love that game. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Highly underrated, and
because the movie sucked, so that's why the game suffered. I think in popular opinion, the movie sucked, so that's probably why the game didn't get that much recognition. But I had the game on the PlayStation Classic. I love that game. It's just that I don't have an arcade stick for my PS Classic, so that D-pad really wears my thumbs out after a while for playing it. It's a great game, man. I love all those Street Fighter games. But I don't remember if it's a Capcom licensed game. I would imagine so. It's a Capcom owned product, so they would need iArcade would need somehow. There could be, the Street Fighter license locked up with Arcade 1-Up. That's what video game companies would do like in the 90s. They'd lock up certain franchises and products so the competitors couldn't get it. Like PlayStation would get will lock up certain things that Xbox couldn't play, or Nintendo. Nintendo will do the same. So maybe it's Arcade 1-Up getting ahead of the game, locking out certain licenses so other up and coming arcade companies can't get a piece of it.
But it's like you and I have been saying, though, iArcade is also a console, so they should be competing in that space. And if they're competing 100%. I said this before too. Like, for example, remember when the Mortal Kombat collection was released for PC, Xbox, PlayStation? You remember it was released as a collection, and you had all access to all 3 titles, and at the time you could play online and all that. Here's my thing: because iArcade is a console, if iArcade decided to go after that collection, go after those ports,
right.
ports being the key word here.
They're not arcade
If you go after those
licensed.
ports, is it really going to matter to people? We're going to be just excited to be able to play those games on our
Right.
iArcade with the
Yeah.
superior buttons and sticks, because whatever
Right.
people think about the iArcade, the buttons and sticks are 1,000 times better than what you get on an arcade one-up. It's just a
Yeah.
fact.
Right.
It's just higher quality components all the way around. So I don't. I mean, I would play anything that the iArcade puts out that you could get on like a console, and they've proven
Yeah.
it when they released Mayhem Brawler, Dead Cells, and a few of these other games that
They had
are
a Dreamcast game, Gunbird, was on there as part of the
yes,
one of the free ones too.
a
Yeah.
free game, yeah,
Yeah.
Gunbird. I mean, when you think about the iArcade, you got Gunbird, you got
They
Double
got to have-
Dragon, you got Dragon's Lair, just to name a few. Okay,
I laugh when people say there's no games on there. That means you never play video games. Like, if you
Right.
think there's no games on there, you don't play video games, because there's some, even though they're not, a lot of them, these titles are not well known, they're just super high quality games.
Some masterpieces.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. And Rhea says ambient room noise is amazing. So calming. I agree. I love
thing about
it
turning
so
those machines
much.
on. Yeah. Yep. Sometimes you just flick them on, sit back and just relax, instead of like turning on a sound machine. I come down here and turn my shit on and just chill out, and just listen to the sounds, the ambience. Retro Ralph in the house.
We got Retro Ralph in the house. I love Retro Ralph. He's another guy. Retro Ralph is amazing. Him and I have had a number of great chats. I've had him on here before. $9.99 super chat from Retro Ralph. Thank you, Ralph. He says, just wanted to stop by and show my support. Much love to Zod and TurboJoe. Thank you, Retro Ralph. The feeling is mutual.
Yeah,
man.
I love this content, man. I love.
I do too. I never.
Some amazing shit in the past. Like one of my favorite videos of all time, he did the Golden Axe review.
Yes,
that's something I would do. That's something I would.
I like when he did my favorite review is when he brought the at games, the deck, and he brought it outside and he had it in the on the water. I mean, he's Retro Ralph.
Amazing intros he's creative. He thinks outside the box, and I get inspired by creators like that.
And watching a lot of his content, with Ralph's content, it's with Ralph, it's all feel good content, because you know that he genuinely has a love for this stuff. So everything that he puts out, it's all from the heart, and you can tell it's just it's just beautiful. And like to see him do like all these restorations, and him and like one of the things that I love is like I'll watch some stuff from him, and I'm also a big mega fan of the Wicked Gamer and Collector. He's another one, and he does where he'll do reviews, and he's constantly reviewing all like the Pandora boxes and the handhelds, and and it's just amazing how over time, how little those devices have progressed over the years. And Ralph had recently done a video where he was showing a Pandora box that you could allegedly go online and play online against people. And it was just a horrible experience. It didn't matter who you were connected to. But, you got to give the Pandora people an A for effort. At least they're trying. But they got a long way to go before they finally get that thing together. Because a lot of times with those Pandora boxes, they can't even get the aspect ratio right on the TV when these games are 4:3. It's
about 5-6 years ago, I messed around with emulating machines, and I just realized they weren't for me. I'm more into like official licensed products. That's just me. I don't know. Like I like the Retro Pies, the Pandora stuff. I just never really, I feel like it's just too overwhelming for me. I never wound up, adapting them. I don't know what it is, but these arcade one-ups give me 4 to 12 games, and it just seems like it's within my, I play on them more. I don't know what it is. I'm a high score chaser, so if you give me 10,000 games, it's gonna like overload. I'm not gonna know what to do. You know what I mean? You put 12 games in front of me, I can manage that. That's just the way I see it. I guess I don't know. I don't need to have 10,000 games. I'll never play 10,000 games in my lifetime.
Right,
So
right. And most of those 10,000 games are games you'll never play. So it's not
right.
even an
Like
issue.
it's funny when the casual retro gamer, oh, I can get 20,000 games for fucking $200. I'm like, go ahead. I mean, if that's what you want, then you know what I mean. I'll have my 12 games, and I'll be, to each his own. I say, because really, it comes down to personal. There's so much out there these
Well,
days.
that was another reason
So much.
why I was so hyped for the MVSX, the Neo Geo, because right out of the box, it came with 50 of the best Neo Geo games.
Right.
And I mean, even if you didn't do the high-low hack where you could add the entire Neo Geo library to the arcade,
right,
you were still coming out good, because there was, at that time, there was no cabinet that was coming out offering you 50 games fully licensed and legitimate right out of the box. So for me, that was insane. And every single one of those titles, in my opinion, was great, because I had nostalgia for playing every single one of those games. So for me, but like you said, I mean, 10,000 games, you're putting yourself in a corner where, like, you could live 10 lifetimes and never play all those games.
It's just not. Like I have the EverDrive for the Genesis. I have the EverDrive for the Super Nintendo. Let's just use the EverDrive for the Genesis as an example. It's got like 900, like almost a complete Sega Genesis library. When I first got that Genesis EverDrive, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be amazing. I can play everything. I've had the EverDrive for like almost 3 years, and I always just go to the same 30 games. I'll never play those styles. I'll never, unless someone recommends me. It's nice to have for convenience, to have the Sega Genesis EverDrive, because if someone recommends you a game, being a creator or whatever, you can go check it out. But other than that, like, if you're not a creator, what the fuck do you need?
And Joe, they're still making games for the Sega Genesis. It's insane.
Yeah, you have homebrew. People are making games for the television and the Atari 2600, the NES 8-bit, the Dreamcast. People, because of YouTube, it's just this shit lives on forever.
What's up, Sharon Peters? Good to see you. Sharon says, next to John D, Ralph is the hottest in our community. All right, Sharon. And Endless One Up says he's going to catch the replay. Thank you for coming, Endless One Up. Always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, Endless One Up is always support. He's been watching my content.
He's a big supporter. I love the content that he does as well.
Yeah, me too.
Him and Rexer got into this huge argument about particle board back in the day, and I remember it, and I just stayed out of it and laughed. I was
Zod, that's an example of what I said. Like, I stay out of it because here I am. I'm cool with Endless. I'm cool with Rexer. They're feuding. I'm staying the fuck out of it. Like Canadian Gamer, Sega Melons. I'm cool with both of them. I'm staying out of it. You know what I mean? That's how I gotta roll, man. I'm cool with more people than I'm not.
My thing is this. I don't know Canadian Gamer. All right, I have never had any interactions with Canadian Gamer, but I know Saggy Melons pretty well.
Yeah,
I care about Saggy Melons. She's my friend. I think she's amazing. I will always support her. So in this particular argument between those two, I'm going to side with Saggy Melons, but at the same time, I'm like, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
because your video was epic. Your deleted video that none of us were meant to see was epic.
You know what it was? When you're friends with somebody, right? And then all of a sudden they do you wrong. There's more fire and emotion built up from that. So you probably just saw me like fucking really emotionally pissed off at how how things went with him. And then I realized, it should be deleted. Like it aired out enough. I said what I had to say. It's inappropriate, so I'm removing it. And what do you know? Like, somebody puts it back up there. And if I wanted to be a dick, I can put a copyright strike out there because you totally stole my material. But I'm not that type of guy to do that. I don't want to fucking.
I learned that lesson myself. I had a couple of young guys who thought they were gonna punk me, and they put out a video did a big live stream, took my content, was breaking me down and trying to make me look like a scumbag. And me being relatively new to YouTube, I didn't really know any better, and I did that. I did the copyright strike thing, and then I was like, and then a friend of mine had came to me and took me aside and said, Zod, it's kind of like it's a code thing. You
Right, right.
never strike another content creator. So word to the wise, you don't strike another content creator.
You
You
know,
never
yeah.
do that. I immediately after he had told me all that and explained it all to me, I went and wrote YouTube and got them to take the strike.
There you go. Yeah,
That
you made it right.
negative video about me that they put out, that 2 hours, whatever, at that video, it's still up there. You can still
Right.
watch it. They tried to label my channel as a hate channel, and it was really crazy. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm cool. I'm gonna take the high road here and just let you keep your video, let you do your thing. I mean, because I think I gained like 100 or 200 subs
Yeah.
off that video, so I was like, whatever, it's
Quite
cool,
common.
no problem.
Right. I get a lot of people talking shit about me. I'm like, go ahead, you say whatever the fuck you want because I
Yeah.
get all this traction, man. And that's what Canadian Gamer making videos laughing. Like, you guys all talking shit about me. But meanwhile, I just shot up 100 subscribers in the last 2 weeks. Like, it's because you guys. Thank you. You know what I mean? So go ahead, talk your shit about me. You know?
But at the end of the day, though, too, it's like when you're a good content creator,
Right.
your content speaks for itself. People come because they want to
Viewer
see
is gonna
what you're going to say,
decide.
because they're
Right.
drawn to you. So
Right.
you don't have to talk all this crap about people. You can
Right.
do your content and tell your truth and say it like it
Right.
is, and not have to be a part of that drama. So essentially, if you're not a drama channel, you know
Right.
you're going to have
Which is
people
not really
coming to
what I
you for
am.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like you guys are giving me commercials, you know what I mean? You're talking about me, you're bringing in new faces and you're talking shit about me that gives them a curiosity about me. Then they come check me out and they like me and they subscribe. So you're like, you hating me helps me.
Yeah, it's like hate doesn't hurt. All hate does is fuel the channel, because at the end of the day, it's all about engagement.
Right?
And that's all you're doing. You're
YouTube
giving
loves it.
me views, you're giving me engagement. So
YouTube loves it.
haters are essentially some of your biggest fans. And that's
Yeah.
what the reality is. Jan says here, ZodWriter, why does Joe support arcade one-ups over the original cabinets? Doesn't the one-up have thin boards and thin pedals? Also, they come up with better versions of the same game yearly. I don't know. I'll let Joe answer that question.
All right. So Arcade One Up doesn't come out with the same versions yearly. It's happened only a couple of times, and it actually happened to me, and I was triggered about it. The Arcade One Up, the Midway Legacy cabinet, the
Yeah.
non-Wi-Fi one came out. I jumped on it, and then 6 months after that, they announced the Wi-Fi version, which is coming out later this year. I was initially annoyed, but I'm okay with it now. I mean, I made a video being annoyed about it, and it helped. Over 1,000 people saw it, and some people liked it, so it helped me gain some more.
Oh, I
viewers.
love that video. I love that video because that was a 100% justified rant. It was justified 1,000%, because the legacy it's all baloney. And then
All right,
and
they
then
could have done it the first time.
the new one's coming out, and it's going to have Wi-Fi. And that's the
Right.
only feature. It's going to be
That's
the
it.
same cabinet
They give you
with
clacks.
Wi-Fi, and it's going to have the Mortal
Different art.
Kombat 1 artwork minus
Without-
Johnny Cage.
Right.
I mean,
Why bother? Yeah.
why bother to do that? You've got Mortal Kombat 2. I picked up the
Right.
Mortal Kombat 2 Countercade on Amazon for $17.99 the other day. It was a misprint and they had to honor it. $17.99.
Beautiful.
Listen, you're talking about a little Countercade that has a beautiful 8-inch screen, the best looking 8-inch screen that Arcade One Up has ever put out, and it's got all 4 of the Mortal Kombat games: Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, and then Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. So, listen,
I want more. Like, I hope Arcade One Up makes some versions like the like this size. This is New Wave Toys.
The New Wave Toys,
Yeah,
that's what they're trying. Is that who they're trying to compete with these collector cades? With the like what Rexer was talking about, the collector cade with the little tiny
Rexer and the collector cade. No, I never saw the video he made of that, because it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, everything's bad, everything sucks, everything's shit. And so I mean, he actually gave that product. He commended that product, right? I found out through everyone else telling me that he actually likes it, right?
Well, yeah, because it's just desk crap. You just put it on your desk or
Yeah,
your
and
shelf,
I like
and
the whole
look at you behind you. You've got a
yeah.
whole bunch of the Are those the what brand primarily
So
puts
these
those
all
out?
right. So
Those are
these are the
the
My Arcade brand.
My Arcade. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, shit. So this is the Contra. The
I've got
batteries.
the I
Yeah. I
think
got.
I've got the Galaga. I think that's the one I got.
Yeah. Most of them are 8-bit ports, but this one is the actual arcade port of Contra. But most of them are 8-bit ports. Well, what do you call it? Space Invaders is the actual arcade port too. And if you look at this, I mean, this is quality, man. Some people say they're shit, but I mean, this is not bad, man. This is for $50. You have the My Arcade brand has stepped up their quality as well. This is a metal arcade stick. Um, the monitor looks really cool. I like these, and I'm hoping to collect more. But the brand, they kind of like stunted their production. Like they haven't really released any new ones. Like last year they came out with a Champion Edition Street Fighter 2, and they really haven't been releasing too many lately. And I've been picky with those as well. But I actually built some more shelves in a different spot to make room to expand the
Oh,
collection.
so you're gonna keep collecting
I
those. So
I really do
would you
enjoy
say
them, man.
would you say you're more of a fan of a collector of those miniatures than you are the one
Okay.
ups?
Well, I'll be able to get more. I'll be able to own more of these little guys because you can just fit more. The arcade one-ups have to be super
Absolutely.
selective because of your real estate.
You're gonna run out of space, yeah. And
Right.
I got a $4.99 super chat here from the great console fanboy, my good friend Zohar, brother from another mother, says with family for Mother's Day, so I can't watch. We'll watch on the replay. Love his turtles, love his channel, and I love him.
So hard.
So the great Zohar, man,
Yeah.
I swear that's a guy that, yeah, I man, that's
Yeah.
been through a lot together. I love console fanboy.
Yeah, console fanboy's grown on me a lot over the last year because we started off. Me and him started off like I met him through UAG's streams, and he's very cocky and telling me he's gonna kick my ass in Street Fighter. So we would play Street Fighter 5, and I'd whip him, and then wouldn't like me. But then I remember Overthink Gaming telling me, "Oh, you got to watch his content. He's fucking good. This, and that." I'm like, I don't know. And once
He's so talented.
yeah, that's what I
he's
was
a
just getting
singer.
to.
He's a
Yeah,
singer on a level that people just
yeah,
don't understand. They don't realize the
right.
sheer talent that Zohar has in his pinky. It's
He's
unbelievable.
creative, yeah, talent of writing the songs as well as singing them, and then his editing skills, his creativity, and the vision of editing, which I thought I was a good editor, but then I watch him put out a piece, I'm like, wow, that's like some thought behind it. You know what I mean? And his humor gets me sometimes. Like I catch his humor where other people may go over their heads. You know what I mean? I like him, and it's unfortunate. Like a lot of these great creative, small creators, no one's gonna find you because unless you're like trying to talk about a trending topic, it's hard for people to find like these little golden gems of a channel.
Golden gems of a channel, and that's why I say I feel honored just being surrounded by so many great,
Yeah, there's so much
talented people
greatness
and
out here that
making
no one ever
friends.
knows. Yeah,
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
unless you're
beautiful thing.
unless you're a hardcore YouTube like viewer, you have to dig deep to find us. And I think what helps me is I sometimes I cover trending machines like the arcade went up. That's how people can find me, or I go on a rant. That's the only way people can find me. It is what it is, I guess. But
but see, I love it too because you guys, the three amigos, you, OTG, and your average gamer. I mean, you guys are amazing, and it's funny because I'd found your stuff too before I really got hip to what OTG and all them were doing, and for me it was great. It's just great to see when you have wonderful content creators like you guys get together and do streams. Those are the kinds of things that I look forward to, and that's one of the reasons why I like doing this kind of a stream so much, because it gives me a chance to really
find new people,
to
meet
know
new
you
people
guys.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and really, because I consider myself to be a card carrying member of the home arcade community, the retro community, all that.
Yeah,
So,
me too.
so this whole thing is like magic for me. I mean, just and getting to to hang out with all you guys is the highlight of it all, and you guys are all such great people. So I mean, I couldn't be happier, to be honest. This is why I'll never understand why there's so much drama and division amongst people within the community, because to me,
haves and the have-nots. That's what creates the drama.
You should want to make more friends than enemies online, essentially. Because at the end of the day, why does it really matter? It's just online. Nothing is gonna happen. I mean, and if you really want to get to know somebody and you want to actually meet in person and stuff, you're not gonna want to do that if you're a hater or you disagree all the time. You're gonna want to do it if you're good friends and stuff. So I don't know, Joe. I just think it's crazy. I feel like people we could accomplish so much more if they weren't always at each other's throats. And it's sad to see that, but that exists in every community, in every fandom. It's just nuts.
See, YouTube, if you're a creator, the odds are stacked against you. And for some creators, they see other people grab success and they just become envious of that other creator. And it just creates static. And then eventually you have someone come out there and speak their mind about that other creator. They get views from it, and then it becomes like an addiction. Oh, I just start talking shit about someone and I get all this traction. And I think that, and then I think it's throwing around that when there's nothing to talk about, when like right now in gaming news, there's really nothing coming out. There's nothing new to talk about. That's when some creators will tend to pull out a card and talk shit about something, or or have an opinionated discussion. And I guess maybe that can help out a little bit everybody, because we have the bored viewer at home. Oh, let's check out some real drama. It's like real life drama is better than any kind of scripted drama. You know what I mean? So some people just solely come to our little channels to see the shit show, And backtracking with UAG, it's so funny how I would never have known UAG if it wasn't for Rexer. If Rexer didn't come into one of my PS4 live streams and tell him, and talk to me and throw himself out there, and I get to know Rexer, I wouldn't have known UAG. And then Overthink Gaming would never have known UAG if it wasn't for me. So it's like this kind of we would never have gotten all together if it wasn't
it's a networking kind of a thing.
Yeah. It's like I've known Overthink Gaming for years. He was one of my first channels that I subscribed to, that wasn't one of the grandfather in million subscriber channels. He was one of those small little channels that helped me find all these little retro gems. I became a creator. I was influenced a lot with Overthink Gaming. You know what I mean? Always speaking my mind, telling it like it is. Those are key attributes that I got from Overthink Gaming, and also Smash JT. Although I don't like his current trend of shitting on certain things, but I love Smash JT, and he's another one of those inspiring creators that from the small batch of content creators. Now, I'm not talking those big guys Archie T and Metal Jesus. I don't really watch them anymore. I need realism. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I need to be with my peers these days. As a creator, I'd rather just watch my friends shit. It's better. It's better content.
It's better content. And again, and this is what I say. It's like when you get together and you get to know people, and
the videos are better.
I was sitting here I'd been getting messages and getting DMs for about a month, Zod, you got to get TurboJoe on your stream. You got to talk to TurboJoe. You got to talk to TurboJoe, because everybody seems to really
I'm a product of
this format.
People that have influenced me, I'm a product.
Yeah.
Overthink Game. Like I said, I am who I am is because of those, key attributes that I took from my favorite creators, and I wanted to adapt that and be me, but adapting certain traits, And so it's like when I talk to Jason every 2 weeks on the Three Amigos, it's like I'm a fan, talking to I'm a fanboy talking to my talking to I don't know. I guess I gotten past that fanboy part, because I talk to Jason in private often. We're friends, man. We're amigos. So I remember we used to talk so much on the side. I'm like, listen, why don't we just save all this shit for the live stream? Because we're always talking. Let's save some of this really good conversation every 2 weeks. This way it's fresh. Because we're talking every day, it's not gonna be the same. So it's almost like we don't talk almost every day anymore because we save it for the show.
OPG is always really fun to talk to. And
Yeah.
Rhea says, networking with other creators has helped me a ton. I'm immensely grateful to the community for all the support. Well, and that's what it's about. It's about that. It's about that connection and getting to know people and doing it in a friendly, positive way, because we all want, the channels of our friends to grow as content creators. We're growing as people. We're growing as individuals. We're learning
for
from
each
our
other.
mistakes, and we're pulling for each other. And it's a beautiful thing to see. That's why I don't let any of the haters get to me. I don't let the hate get to me at all, because I always look at it like, again, like we were saying earlier, it's just all about engagement. You may hate me, but you're still watching my stuff. So it's not really it's not really hurting me one way or the other. It's like, what the haters don't realize is, if you really don't like somebody and you really don't support them, the best thing you could do is not watch them, not engage with them at all, not bother at all. But the thing is, the hate is almost a form of narcissism, and it sits on their mind to the point where I gotta say something, I gotta do this, I gotta keep going at this person, I got to get this person's attention because I don't like them. Well, okay, but that's once again you engaging, and you're helping the person that you don't like. So that's an ambassador. The ambassadorial wing has a different view. He says, sadly, drama sells, and it doesn't require effort to create. It takes more effort to put together constructive content and makes people think and makes them be engaged mentally. I agree, but again, the negativity still helps content creators, because the haters drive it, and it just brings more traffic to your channel. So
the drama videos have a shelf life on them, and they usually explode with a couple thousand views or whatever, and then it just dies off. It hits like a wall, and then it's just like dead video on your channel. You know what I mean? So I feel like when you put quality content out there, it lasts. Like I put like last year I did a Street Fighter video. I did ranking every Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition character from best to worst, from worst to best. And that's like a 10-minute video that will stand the age of time. Like to this day, I'm getting like 100 views a day. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I make a video talking shit about another creator, after a week, it's dead. You know what I mean? So I still say quality over those easy, quick fix videos. I don't know. I just try and get away from the negativity. Sorry, I just got to get away from it.
Well, the thing is, we've all got better things to do. Right. That's the reality.
Unless it's negativity in a product I'm reviewing, that's it, man. There's no need to like hop on other shit or other people's problems or other creators. That's not going to be my channel. I'm not going to be bitching about other people. Period.
Sharon Peters says, I hate the term hater. Just because you don't like someone's content doesn't mean that one is a hater. That's very true. That's very true. It's like when they use the word toxic for everything today. If you don't like that's what a lot of the younger people, that's the word a lot of younger people use when they disagree with you.
All right, let me give you
toxic.
Let me give you an example of hater. I do agree in that fucking word, but I'll tell you why. When the Amico was announced about 3 years ago, okay, you had a bunch of people. I mean, it just ran through the print of the news of the machine. Within 5 minutes, it already sucks. It's already a scam. It's already garbage. I mean, what do you mean? Like he just announced the product. How is it trash already? Just because you don't like it? Like you're fucking hating on it. That's the only way I can describe it. You're hating on something that you don't like it. How do you know if it's good or not? It didn't come out yet. This was just like this been this whole thing with that Intellivision Amico for 3 years in the making. People like Kevgrit on the Rexer show. That guy 3 years ago was arguing with everyone, saying, "Oh, it's the worst idea in the world," because he just didn't like it. For him, he's hating on the idea, and that's a fact. And 3 years later, he's still talking shit about the Amico with Rexer. I mean, you were just an original hater. Kevgrit is the original hater. Him and the frog guy, what's his name? Getaway
the
guy,
frog
whatever.
Guy.
the geek guy.
Oh yeah,
Those guys,
Tony, the Geek
right?
Getaway.
I've been
Okay.
trying to destroy the name in television ever since, like, Tommy turned a blind eye to those fucking nut jobs, and that's what created the aggression, the attacks. Whatever. I'm just going back.
And my sweet love, Saggy Melons, is in the chat, stopping by to drop a like. Got to work in the AM, going to bed. Love you, Zod. Love you too, Saggy. Honestly, I mean, hey, I'm unapologetically Team Saggy. Okay, it just is what it is. I can't. Nobody can tell me anything about Saggy Melons that I don't. Yeah, it's wow. Ambassadorial Wing says Turbo Joe. I agree. Drama always hits a wall or ceiling and can stall a channel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It definitely can. Definitely can. So we got a guy here saying who has an issue with your love for your supposed love for Rich of Review Tech USA. And he says the guy does nothing but burp and fart on stream. He also looks like a Neanderthal. So Jan wants to know what you find fascinating about Review Tech USA.
Before I became a creator, I used to watch Rich. He's one of those original grandfather guys, and I just always enjoyed his take on shit, and also like his drama. He would always, was trying to grow his channel, and he would get caught up in between other creators, and sometimes most of the time I agree with his logic and his the way he called things out. I like the guy, and the explosion in the beginning of my video. When I go a boing de bob flippity flop, that's kind of like a take from Review Tech's. Skippity boppity bop bop. And so I kind of stole that a little bit. Is just being a fan of his channel. I wanted an explosion in the beginning of my show, and I did the boing de the blop flippity flop thing. I don't know if anyone ever realized that. That's where I got it from.
And Saggy Melon says, I'm a mod for Review Tech USA. I like Rich. He is unapologetic. Nothing wrong with that. Exactly.
We each have our poisons that we like, and I haven't really watched much of him in recent, like the last year or so. He's kind of getting stale. Ever since he went to like doing the live stream shit every night. I don't know. It's over too much, I guess.
Too much of a good thing, huh?
Yeah, it's just now overexposed. Exposed. I don't know. I'm moving on, I guess.
Sharon Peters says, my paralyzed grandma has more talent in her right leg than RGT 85.
Well,
ooh, shots fired.
He used to put out really good content, before his channel exploded with the Nintendo Switch shit. He put out really good retro gaming content. A lot of games I found was because of RGT 85, like Sega Genesis stuff. So I mean, I give him credit, man. He used to put out good content, and then, hey, you could become, it's a full-time job for him. So his channel has to be geared towards making money. I mean, he has to make a living. So, he went from a hobbyist creator to like a creator that has to do it to make a living. And as we all know, those type of creators have to change. They have to adapt to the algorithms and make content that's going to make them money, period.
Unless you're doing it as a hobby and you're doing it because you love it and you don't care about algorithms and you don't care about other people's opinion. And if that's the case, then you do what you want to do and your channel will grow organically on its own. Saggy Melon says, also, I'm living proof. Drama doesn't stall channels. There's enough drama every day for people to find. Drama isn't for everyone. If it isn't for you, find less drama content. It exists. That's good advice. That's definitely good advice because you can always find other content that isn't drama for sure.
Yeah. Well, drama. Hey, if you like to report, pop culture drama, and me, I'm not into. I have to be passionate in what I'm talking about. If I was good at passionate behind drama stuff, I would definitely do it because it grows channels very fast. But it's just not me. So I end the drama, not start the drama.
Let's be honest, YouTube has become oversaturated. Everyone thinks they're going to be the next big thing instead of making content for the love and passion. Yeah, well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I consider this to be a hobby. I consider this to be fun. I
It's a
consider
hobby, man.
if I didn't like doing this and I wasn't having fun and I wasn't making friends, I'd find something else to do.
Exactly. Me too.
I mean, it's not like there's any shortage of things to do these days. Okay, Retro Ralph is living proof of that. If I really get fed up and be like, I don't want to do content creating anymore, I'll just start modding stuff because I'm learning from Retro Ralph. I'm just like, hey man, this guy can turn a brown paper bag into an emulation beast. I mean, it's crazy the stuff he does. So I don't. For me, I'm not sitting here thinking, my God, if my YouTube channel doesn't explode and then if I don't have like 10 million subscribers within the next 3 years, I'm out. It's like, well, no, I'm just doing this because I enjoy the content and I enjoy the connections and the friendships and speaking from my mind, speaking from my heart. I mean, that's what it's all about. And I got a $10 super chat here from Great Sosa. Fam, bam, bam. What's up, Sosa?
What's up,
I'm telling you, I'm going to have to get Sosa on here too one of these days because Sosa is another really good, great gentleman out. And I'm telling you, man, shout out to Zod and Turbo. Yeah, Sosa's awesome. You too, Rock. I have to take care of Mother's Day business, so I'll catch the replay. Here is a hard 10 to show some love. Have a great stream. Thank you so much, Sosa. I'm going to be hitting you up, man. We got to do it. We got to have you on a late night Q&A. That'll be another super fun show. Sosa is awesome, honestly. I mean, again, so many great people. I mean, look at Joe. Look at the amount of people that are coming in here just to show support. They can't even watch the stream because they got other things they got to do, but they're dropping their support. It's beautiful, man.
Let me tell you, family is important, and most of us, we can say we have tight family, but look at the tight support we have in this community. You can argue that some of these guys we're closer with than our own family members. Like I can tell you, I talk to some of my YouTube friends more than I talk to like my first cousins. That's a fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some like childhood friends that I only talk to like once or twice a month. Like I talk to these guys almost every day. You know what I mean? Like you could say, some say, oh, they're not real friends. This is real. You know what I mean? Like just because we don't physically see or touch, these are real relationships, man. People have emotion behind this shit in the drama videos. They touch the nerve. It's real. You know?
Yes, because we're so connected. It's like when you look at the way things are, online in this whole community sphere, it's like these are your friendships, these are your connections, these are your social ties. And I joke about it all the time. I say, well, somebody asked me the other day. I was out with my parents on Friday for Cinco de Mayo, and I caught up with an aunt of mine that I hadn't seen for a while, and a cousin, since all this crazy stuff started. And the funny thing about it was we were talking about, friends and how hard it is to see friends and family and stuff now and how things have gotten crazy. And I'm like, yeah, well, most of my friends are online. So when I want to talk to somebody or I got something, it's like I get, social media and YouTube, and this is the new social connection.
Yeah,
for the modern age.
I tell people in real life that I have like legit friends, through the internet, man. I say it with a straight face, and they don't even they get it. It's becoming more mainstream. People have like these friendships, digital friendships, especially since COVID too. Like when people are trapped in their homes, this is all we have. This is all we got.
This is all we got, and this is why it's so much fun to with
the technology too. You press a button and we're talking with a microphone, camera clear, and it's so easy to do this stuff these days.
with literally with anybody in the world, and that's
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you how far we've come. So it's not all bad. Somebody said the other day, I think the internet was a mistake, and I was like, well, maybe
Well, in
you
some
could make an
ways,
argument. You
yeah.
could make an argument in some ways that yes, that's probably true, but also you
But the
can't
information
deny the connections people have made.
the connection and just the information helps to invention and creation and just helps the world just operate better. Well, but it doesn't come without its drawbacks, you know.
And Sharon Peters says, I won't subscribe to people who ask for likes, comments, and subscribers, saying that has become so cliche.
I can't disagree. It's been the longer you're on YouTube, the more you hear it every day. And now I feel you, Sharon. When someone says hit that like button, it makes me not want to hit it now. You know, I'd rather be free to hit it on my own. Don't tell me to hit it anymore. I'm tired of it, and it really doesn't do anything. It's all superficial. Like it's your watch time, you know, and the relevance of your video is how YouTube will promote it. And that's what I've learned. I've learned that videos, like looking at my analytics, the videos that have the higher retention rates, which I for some reason people watch my shit, I retain someone's attention. Those videos just do better than others. Like if you can hold someone's attention for 5 minutes or longer, those are the videos that YouTube puts out there. Now, if you can't do it,
love seeing that. I love seeing that when it's like when it says 25 minutes, I literally feel like I've accomplished something in life. I'm like, wow, really?
yeah, man,
Okay.
yeah, you've hold someone's attention, and in this day and age, it's hard to hold someone's attention for more than a few minutes. So I feel like, if you're a creator and you're looking at your analytics, and if you have a 10-minute video and you're getting a 1-2 minute retention, you're not doing good, man. Sorry to tell you. Quit.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. And there's a lot of people out there that again,
They think they're better than they are.
they do it because they're passionate about it and they're legends in their own minds.
There you go.
Basically it. And I just
they think they're good. They're legends in their own mind.
and I just don't even I just don't even I just don't even think about it, like that. To each his own. Your average gamer is making another baby.
Hell no. No more babies.
Jan wants to know, how optimistic is Joe that the Amico will still come out? It is May and we haven't heard from the company. Any news?
That motherfucker is my friend Jan. He's trolling me, so I'll answer any question.
Well, I know Jan was one of the people that was like Zod, you got to get TurboJoe on your stream. TurboJoe. It's like, hey,
he's a troll.
I'm gonna.
He's my troll.
Sure.
No, he's mad at me. He's a little mad at me because I called him out in my comment section because he likes to take shots at me. So the other day, I forgot what he said. It just rolls over. I don't hold grudges, and he said something obnoxiously, and he likes to take little backhanded slaps at me. And because he's my friend, I let him get away with it. And the other day, I said something like rude back to him, and he's like, and he contacted me in private. He's like, Joe, you kind of rude to me. I'm like, well, you get fucking, listen, you should know who I am by now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you keep poking the bear, eventually he's gonna fucking slap back at you, and that's what I did. And I gave him a little comment he didn't like. I didn't heart it like I always do.
You gave him what we call a clap back.
There you exactly.
So there you go.
I'm human like everybody else, man. Sometimes I have bad days, and I don't want to hear it. Sometimes you're gonna get it back. I don't give a fuck. Whatever.
My thing. The one thing I will say about the Amico is I kind of feel sad about where everything has gone with it, because in television, if you remember the Intellivision, you kind of have had hopes that something like this would be possible in the modern day, to see like a revival of that.
Right.
And people don't realize that, again, there's a nostalgia, Barry, for the Intellivision, just like there is for everything else.
Yeah,
and
like
so
Nintendo,
when you
Mario,
and again, the retro gaming space is big enough, okay, for all of these consoles.
100%.
So what makes the Amico so special that it deserved all the hate that it got? Literally, like what,
Yeah.
like what is it like for
All right.
we people have got the Evercade, people have got the got the PlayStation Mini, the Sega
Right.
Genesis Mini, the Nintendo Mini. You got your Switches,
Everybody
you
else
got
is
all your
cashing in.
systems.
Everyone else is cashing in, but the television's not allowed to.
I never understood
Right.
the extreme hate that this system got.
I can explain. I can definitely explain from my perspective. Now, I've been in this Amico thing since the beginning. Okay, since Tommy first announced it, and the Intellivision brand to me, it was my first home console. Like my father showed me the Intellivision. I have memories when I was 3 years old of playing the damn thing, and then when my parents split, he took his games with him, and then my mother.
No.
Yeah, so then and this was going back to like what 1980 now, 1981 when they split. My mother bought an Intellivision too. She scrapped up the money to get me my own Intellivision, and then I wound up having the Intellivision too. And then fast forward to '86, Nintendo, and then just Genesis, and so on. So I'm getting sidetracked here with the Intellivision Amico. Tommy was trying to sell the nostalgia first, but his grand vision was to create like a console that can bridge the gap for casuals to play with the hardcores. Kind of like how with a little hint of like the Nintendo Wii. But it was going to be Intellivision without a doubt. It had the controller was built like the original Intellivision controller,
like the original,
touchscreen, the disc pad, all that stuff. What I think what created the hate for the Amico was Tommy himself. So he gave only certain people access to interviews, and if you were like considered a hater, quote unquote, like we used that term earlier, if you had some now, how could you have you have questions about the machine, but there was just so many things up in the air, and he just wouldn't offer any people that didn't like the console. I don't know. I feel like he like held certain creators and just didn't allow them access, and they became bitter. So they just started their own narrative, like it or not. He created enemies by not allowing certain people access and certain channels access. I think that created the rift, especially with the small, tiny channels, because these little tiny channels were getting thousands of views when they were normally getting 50. You know what I mean? And so these negative channels, they wanted their piece of that pie, so they became like the hate parade, and they got their views that way and started their own narrative. And then it also didn't help when you had Pat and Ian go on their fucking rants.
I'll say this about Pat and Ian. It looks like it stinks in that room. I'm just saying. All right. No disrespect to anybody, any creators, whatever, Pat and Ian. But
dirty in there fucking
room, I mean, my God, you talk about a place that needs a window. You talk about a couple of guys who need to touch some grass.
Right. Imagine the casual person just watches their podcast and sees all the stuffed animals and all the silly shit. They would think it's some kind of like comedy scam. Like who are these? Are real people with I know, granted, I have toys back here, but like these got stuffed animals and shit. Like, come on, it just doesn't go right, man. Imagine if I had like Mario and Princess and stuffed animals and Beanie Babies behind me. Who's gonna take my channel serious, man? I don't know. Here I am. I mean, I got toys and all, but I don't know. Some people fuck with me with my toys, but I don't know, because I have like Star Wars shit, but like I draw the line at stuffed animals. I don't know, and Beanie Babies.
Yeah, I will say this about Tommy Tallarico. I knew Tommy from his his G4 days.
Yeah, no, I was telling Jason. I remember his. And I used love that show.
And I'm gonna tell you something. Every conversation that I ever had with Tommy Tallarico over on social media has always been positive. I've been on a couple streams with Tommy. Tommy is a really down to earth, nice guy. I always liked Tommy, and I still like him to this day. And I just never understood. And I guess maybe because like what you were saying about the Amico, about him kind of having a one-sided view and not wanting to engage with any criticisms with regards to the system was the detriment of it all. But essentially, I think what it is I think he just had such an overly passionate outlook for the product
Yeah.
that he just it's like it's anybody that's a creative that's investing so much of their selves into something. You
He's
want
working
to
7
see it,
days a week,
you want
nonstop.
to
That
see it,
guy.
you want to see it succeed. You want to see
Right.
it be
I
a
was pulling
success.
for him.
And you don't want to listen, and you just don't want to listen to the criticism. You've got better things to do.
Right.
You've got other things going on.
That's
You
true.
don't want to engage in the negativity. It's like let's use Arcade 1-Up for an example. Arcade 1-Up gets a lot of hate for the stuff that they put out. They got a lot of haters, but they also have a lot of fans that lift them up and buy every single cabinet that comes out, no matter what, whether it gets good reviews or not. You know, these companies are always going to have their fans, are always going to have their protectors as well as their detractors.
Right.
And so when I think about, Tommy from a creative perspective, this being his baby, this being something that he wants to succeed more than anything else, I can understand having that narrow-minded view that I don't want to deal or engage with any negativity. Right. I don't have time for it. I'm working 7 days a week. I got too 100%. Much to deal with.
True.
All
he cared about was promoting what his hard work and not dealing with the bullshit.
Right. So in that regard, I can kind of see why that was the case. I mean, it's just sort of.
He probably should have gave no one access and just promoted his own television channel, and any news, any
would just be on
channel.
that television channel, and
don't
just
give anyone exclusive
don't give anybody
access,
exclusive
too many.
access.
It was too many. You created a rift when you were giving me and other guys like me access, and then other guys, and others of my same peer group no access. So it created fucking hate and animosity, and they just started to make their own narrative. Fuck it, like fuck you, Tommy. Their shit is garbage, and then that's it. Period.
And the great Rexer of the Rexer Show says, I think a lot of the people around us aren't old enough to appreciate the television. People love the NES and Sega because they aren't old enough to love the television.
In television, you got to be about 45 and older, And I'm gonna be 45, I think. And guys that are in their late 30s, they just missed it. They just missed the Intellivision cusp.
Well, I had a neighbor who had the Intellivision, and I remember playing a few games on it when I was just a baby, and I remember it being cute and engaging and being something that I kind of could see. It was like you had those systems. There was the Intellivision, there was the ColecoVision, and then you eventually you transition into, the NES.
Yeah.
Or if you grew up, did you have a personal computer growing up? Because growing up, I had the Commodore 64.
I had a friend that had the Commodore 64, and I remember playing Karate Champ on the
Commodore. Karate Champ stands out. Karate Champ, and the games I remember Karate Champ, Commando. And Street Sports Baseball.
I remember Hardball on the Commodore.
Hardball, 4th and Inches. Remember 4th and Inches football?
No, not that one. 10-yard fight, I remember.
10-yard fight was released on everything.
Tecmo Bowl, yeah.
Tecmo Bowl. I mean, I understand, and I understand that what Rexer's saying here. If you don't have the nostalgia for it, then it's you're kind of lost. And to me, I like Pat and Ian. I mean,
they're too young.
They're too young. They don't have the nostalgia for it. So they're looking at the Amico from the lens of the modern age. And you can't do that with a console like this. Exactly. A console like this, you kind of gotta see it for what it is, and you gotta realize that maybe you're not the
target audience
for this particular device. I mean, because when I see certain things, like I'm not, I look at when certain arcade 1-ups that come out, it's like I'll never buy that. I have no interest in buying the Simpsons arcade 1-up. It's not because I didn't like the Simpsons arcade game, but I expected more out of the Simpsons arcade game. And when I play, and I can play the Simpsons on my Neo Geo MVSX, and it emulates perfectly. So why would I need to go out and
I
buy a
remember you
Simpsons
mentioned that in
cabinet?
an interview. I remember you mentioned that recently, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I just I understand now. If Arcade One Up were to put out a Pit Fighter cabinet, we might be having
Right.
a different conversation because I
Like you
have
said, nostalgia.
nostalgia
Yep,
for Pit Fighter. So you
100%.
have to.
So
Yeah,
a lot of these older YouTube creators were genuinely excited over the Intellivision Amico, and people will call them phonies. It's just not the case because I was genuinely excited for it because I had nostalgia tied to it. And if you're younger than me, you probably don't have that nostalgia tied to it. Just last week, I pulled out Armor Battle. It's a tank game. For the Intellivision, it was 2-player only. You operate a tank.
was that like Combat for the Atari 2600?
Right. Graphics were better. It was just a little. It was a little more technical. It was just a better game because the Intellivision was newer than the 2600, so the game was just a little bit better. And I played that shit with my daughter. My daughter's 6 now. She's used to PS4. We played Battlefront 2 on there. She hops on the retro arcade one up. She'll try anything at least once. And here we are. She's never tried one of these ancient Intellivisions. Hooked up to a CRT. And she was so excited. She was like screaming out with the excitement of like cornering me and capturing me and blowing me up, and the excitement of just playing another person. It doesn't matter what the graphics are, you know what I mean? Like that couch co-op thing. That's what Tommy was envisioning, the old, like dad playing with his 6-year-old daughter, and my father playing with his 3-year-old son, fucking 100 years ago. That's what he was trying to capture. And people hate him for it. Call him a scam artist and a bullshit artist for it. Meanwhile, I'm behind the scenes. I have private access to him every day. This guy's busier than busy, 7 days a week. Saturdays and Sundays, I'm hanging out with my family. This guy's fucking flying across the country to promote. This guy was nonstop. And then he hit some walls with COVID and chip manufacturing, and everyone called him a liar. And I think he just promised too many things that he couldn't come through with it. And they soaked up all the money. And then before they knew, salaries in California, it costs a lot of money to pay these people and these salaries, and the money just ran out, and the product wasn't ready yet. Bad management,
and he
bad whatever.
he definitely had the best of intentions.
Absolutely,
Because I remember
You call him a
talking to
scam
him, and I
artist. It's
remember
not
him
fair.
saying, and I remember him telling me about all, how passionate he was about it, and
Right,
how much he wanted it to appeal to family and all this
right,
stuff. And it's just sad to see, because I feel like if it would have been able to come to fruition, it would have reached its target audience for real.
right.
So
Rex is
I'm
right.
more sad about it than anything. I just think that it had a lot of promise, and like you said, for a lot of these external factors that just piled up, there was just
Yeah.
nowhere to go. And Mike wants to know here, Joe, what do you think about Pat and Ian CU podcast when they are not talking about the Amico? By the way, I love the parody you did of them on Rexer's show.
uh, their vision, they're so narrow-minded Nintendo fanboys that they rarely cover anything. I mean, sometimes their take on like retro products it's interesting to me. I used to be subscribed to them, but I just find other creators better than them. I find like smaller podcasts way better than the two of them. They like this. I don't know. What's his name? Ian. He thinks like his shit don't stink. He's an elitist that knows everything, and I don't know. They just give me these vibes like they're better than everyone else. Meanwhile, their channel has been at 250,000 subscribers for like the last 10 years. They haven't moved a bit. They haven't moved anywhere.
They obviously haven't cleaned that room or opened a window in all
The
that
same
time
stuff,
either.
yeah, the same dust and dirt in that room for 10 years. The only reason why he had some fame was because of Angry Video Game Nerd. Let's be honest, man. I mean, that's all it takes sometimes is one little thing to break your way, and you can get an influx of subscribers. That's how he blew up. But I don't know. What Rex's show was saying about the Intellivision was it blew the Atari 2600 away. It really was
Absolutely
incredible compared to and it came out around the same time frame. And you got to see some of these games. I mean, the Intellivision can only handle like 7 or 8 colors on the screen at once. And if I show you some of like the graphics, you wouldn't believe. Like, it looks so detailed from what they were able to, from what the computer can do back then. It's very impressive when you go back and play some of these
Have
games.
you ever checked out a YouTuber? And I'm just asking this for my own, for my own, because I've been a big fan of this guy for a long time. You ever checked out a YouTuber named Bithead 1000?
No.
Oh,
No, never heard of it.
okay. I
Bithead?
just, yeah, I'm gonna just have to. I'm just gonna have to leave that there because that's a guy who's
Check it
big
out.
into all the old retro type stuff, and he talks
Mm.
a lot about that stuff. And he was a big Intellivision fan, not so much the Amico, but he grew up with the Intellivision, so he talked about it a lot like how you just did right now. That's why I was wondering
Yeah,
if
it's
you
badass,
knew who
man.
he
And
was.
also with Tallarico, not only was he dealing with the COVID pandemic and parts shortages and shit, he had his own. He had a surgery like last year where he was like, no shit, like he couldn't. He had some issue with his stomach where he had to get an operation, and he didn't even say nothing on it. Like he was almost like back to work the next day. Like no one even knew what happened to him. He immediately right after surgery like was working. Like the guy never took a break. And then his father was sick for like the longest time. Like he had so many problems. I'm hoping somebody picks up the Intellivision name, like the same way someone just took the name Atari VCS, bought the name, and made their own little computer out of it. I hope someone takes the Intellivision name and
Microsoft will buy it.
somebody can pick up where he left off and resurrect it. I really think it's a great idea.
And it would be not. It would be nice if he were able to be involved somehow too.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sharon Peters wants to know: isn't Fourth and Inches an adult movies on? I don't. It could be. I don't know if it is. I haven't seen it. Rexer said that the Intellivision blew away the 2600, and that was hilarious when you guys did that Ian parody. And Rexer says, "I love Bithead." Yes, Rexer. Then you know what I'm talking about. Joe would love him. Yes, and
I'll check him out.
he talks about life issues too. So funny. Yeah. Bithead is amazing. He's always talking about his wife and his kid and his struggles in life and how much he hates his job. And he's hilarious. Bithead is amazing. And then somewhere along the line, he gets in there and starts talking about video games. It's insane. But yeah, I just think that maybe you're right. Maybe at some point we will get an Intellivision reboot of some sort.
I think I'm the
from
only
a company with money.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the only creator that believes in that. Everyone else is like, nah, it's done. We're never going to see it again. But I think the name itself, that brand, is too. It has a hardcore cult following. I feel like the name itself is enough to be resurrected. I think there's an audience for it, and like you said, the retro scene is so diverse and big, and there's so much money to be made in the community that every little console can find its own little niche audience. I think. I mean, I feel like if the iArcade is surviving right now, like the Amico would have definitely would be fine. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, let's look at that for a minute. Could you see Intellivision? Could you see the Intellivision, the games that they were trying to do for the Amico? Could you see some of those games appearing on the iArcade? Could you see that being something
Maybe,
tangible or a way to kind of pick it
maybe
up
some
and
of them.
save it? Maybe some of them. Yeah.
Possibly some of them, because he was using the the rotary disc and the swipe touchscreen. A lot of those games had that uniqueness about it, so the iArcade may not be able to assimilate it as well.
Well, they are. Well, the iArcade is coming out with accessories where there's gonna be like a spinner and I think trackball, different things that was just announced.
Like you pull out your
I don't
deck
know
and
if
put a
it's
new
I
one
don't know
in,
if it's gonna be I don't know if there's
plug
gonna
and
be
play.
a deck swap out or if it's gonna
Right.
be somehow plug and play or whatever. But I know that they just announced that a couple days ago, so I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Arcade One Up is doing well because for every Rexer there are 3 Michael B's. Mike, you just mentioned that name. You mentioned that name, so now I got to talk about him again. Michael B. He is like the picture that I see when I see somebody like who should be a company representative, because Arcade 1-Up could do no wrong in that guy's eyes. You could put that guy, you could take any this is the guy, you could tell him, well, they're replacing Pac-Man, they're replacing Mortal Kombat, they're replacing whatever cabinet.
No
and
problem.
even though he has like 5-6 versions of it already, he'll buy the new version.
Buy it again.
And then make an excuse that he traded his friend Michael D to get the new cap. And we know Michael D is an imaginary friend that he uses for his
he's trying to he's just trying to let people know that he doesn't have an addiction, that I don't really watch him. That I can't watch fluff channels. I can't watch people that are over the top, eccentric over a product. I don't know. I just need people to be real and grounded.
And I get it. And I have no disrespect towards Michael B. I pick on Michael B a lot, but I do like Michael B. He's a good dude. He's a nice guy. I don't have a problem with him. All my interactions with him have been positive, so I'm not trashing him in any way. I just like to use him as an example because of his own content, because of the way he projects his content.
I'm not much of you talk about an arcade machine for like an hour in a stream. I prefer like a 10-minute precise, well-edited, informative video in 10 minutes than opposed to like sitting there and eyeing over the machine for an hour in a stream. I just can't. I don't have an hour to sit there and watch it. I have kids. I want to play games myself. I don't want to sit there and watch you talk about games. I want to be playing them. So I tend to go to the channels that do well editing, like Rex's show. He does like the 10-minute his series. That's like right up my alley.
Beautiful.
Man.
That's
right to the point.
Great.
Right to the point. Like UAG and Overthink Gaming, they put out 5 to 10 minute hit pieces. That's what I want. I don't got an hour. I don't got that shit. We're fucking busy. I like to play games too. So. The gamers ain't gonna be sitting there watching that shit. They're gonna be playing games, man.
The gamers are gonna be playing games.
Play video games.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have it in the background, but we're gonna be playing the fucking games at night, not watching these live streams for 3 hours.
Or you're either gonna be playing the games or you're gonna have them on in the background, listening to them and looking at them.
Right. Like this is kind of like like a radio style. You could listen to this and be playing your video games right now. Hope you guys are playing games right now while you're listening.
While we're talking, because this could just as easily be an audio podcast because of the format.
That's what I do. If I'm gonna listen to like these live streams, I'm listening and I'm doing something on the side. I'm not gonna sit here and just watch this shit for 3 hours. I got shit to do.
Yeah, man. So I just it's an incredible hobby, man. It's an incredible time to be a fan of all this stuff. There's something for everybody. So we are all very, very lucky. And I think we're all very, very spoiled when you think about where we were years ago. I mean, I remember being a kid drooling over the Neo Geo, and there was an electronics boutique that had a gold Neo Geo in the window at the shop, and I would be like, you would just be drooling like, how much would a gold Neo Geo cost if the real Neo Geo was about $800 back in the day? What was the cost of the 14 karat gold Neo Geo?
God, I laugh when people like talk about like the PS5 or even like the PS4. Oh, it was so expensive. It was $600. I'm like, the damn Neo Geo was like the equivalent to like $2,000 back in the 90s. You know what I mean? That machine was $600 back in like 94. That was the equivalent of like today's like $2,000 price. That would be expensive for a console. Like people were complaining today about a $600 PS5 when the Neo Geo was $600 20 years ago. I just find it hilarious. People still complain about the prices of things. It's a hobby, man.
Imagine trying to get your parents to buy you a Neo Geo. Could you imagine that conversation? It's not even a conversation.
Your father had to be like, you got to be wealthy to own one of those, or an adult. No kid is getting no $600 console back then. Unless your parents are super wealthy, I guess.
Super wealthy and didn't care, had money to throw away.
Yeah, a ton of money.
Aaron Peters says, I bet Michael B would trade his new baby for the latest arcade one up. I don't know. I don't even want to. I don't even want to touch that one because that would be terrible if that was the case. Rexer says guys like us would rather play games and not do 3 streams a week talking
100%.
about one ups.
There's no way. Yeah. I love the YouTube as a hobby, but I like to play video games more. That's what happens sometimes when I know I need to make content, and I'm like, I just want to play my games this weekend. Fuck it, man. I'm not gonna make any content.
And Rhea says, I'm definitely playing a game while I listen. That's awesome. Rhea, you got to try out Water Margin on that Evercade collection you got. I love that game. Water Margin is a beat 'em up that was recently released for the Sega Genesis that came out several years ago, but it was never officially released on the system until just recently, within like the last 4 years or so. And it's a fantastic game. I love it. What's your opinion on at games?
I think they make garbage products. I mean, I have an at games Atari 2600 flashback.
No, but you got the Legends Gamer Pro. You got the new.
I don't have any of the new products. No, this is like the only. I think this is the only at games product I own is their Atari 2600.
Oh yeah, now see, I've got the Legends Gamer Pro, and you know that you have the ability. You can add coin ops to it. Coin ops.
UAG has that one, right?
Yeah, and
I'm familiar with it.
It is fantastic, and I just wanted to know what you thought because they have similar buttons and sticks and build quality to iArcade as far as like controls go. So I was wondering what you thought, but since I feel like is there crappy. I
feel like that that Legends machine. First of all, it's an eyesore. It's ugly, and two, I feel like it's just like a home console.
But that's why I like the Gamer Pro, because it's just the control deck.
Right,
and you can kind of make. Cause I made my own version of the Legends Ultimate. I basically took the Legends Gamer Pro and I got a 24-inch monitor because the screen is 24-inch, and I connected it, and I connected Bobby Vu's computer to it, and I made it into like my own version of like a Couchcade. So I got it like right next to me, so I could turn it on, and it's really cool because with Coin Ops X you can play virtually any arcade game you want, and that's cool. So that's kind of cool. And Mike says here, I think Blaze Entertainment will release the Intellivision Amico. Whether they take over the project or buy the assets in bankruptcy, they are making more money on Intellivision games than the company itself. That would be interesting.
I'd love to cover it. I'm all for someone picking it up and completing the project, and I hope it happens.
Rhea was saying that she was thinking at games, but Blaze is a great pick too. Hey, if at games were to pick it up, that'd be cool. I mean, I just want Tommy to be involved in some way with whoever picks it up.
I hope so too. Yeah.
I mean, at least in terms of like game development and that kind of thing,
I truly believe that it's going to come out. Like everyone's saying it's not coming out. You're just trying to make videos. I think that it's coming back. It's not just a temporary setback. The company's still alive.
Yeah, and if Blaze takes over Amico, they can release it with an Evercade cartridge port, so it supports all of their existing library. That would be amazing. I would be all for that because that Evercade is really awesome. I'll be streaming lots of Evercade content. People love seeing my rage. Yeah, definitely, Rhea. Seeing you rage today, playing these classic retro games was so awesome. I mean, getting so angry over these games, and it just, but it's fun. It's fun, when you break your handheld. Joe hates the Evercade. Why is this so? And will he ever consider getting one? Do you hate the Evercade?
I made a video roasting the Evercade when a couple of years ago, and people are still fighting me in the comment sections of that video I made 2 years ago. I said it's just just get. I mean, if you have a Nintendo 3DS, like if you're into the handheld scene, like this stuff out there that already does this. I mean, I feel like
Mhm.
it's just
Well,
it's.
Evercade did recently put out an actual consoleized version
Right, I
of this
saw that one. The
for
VS.
VS. Yeah,
I mean,
it actually has a nice interface, a
right.
nice UI that I think is pretty impressive, all things considered. I mean, you're and then there's also a cartridge out there that allows you to add your own games too.
I guess
So
it's good
that
for people that aren't into modern gaming. It's like 0%. Like if you've been a gamer your whole life, like if you buy every new system when it comes out, like this stuff has already been at your fingertips for decades. The retro games released on the PS4, Xbox, it's
that's
all
true.
there already. So why? So
That's
I
very
guess
true.
this little console is it's just great for people that are out of touch with modern gaming. They can just look at that. Let me get
That's
that.
true. That's true.
Let me get that
And
for
and and,
$100.
and, and emulation as well, because emulation's been
Right.
around forever
And
too.
that too, like, have you not been aware of what you can get already and what's already out there? Like, to each his own. I did.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just like
$99 with controllers and games bundled. It's hard to complain. Yeah, well, I
well,
mean,
you can get. All right, so you just said $99 with the controllers bundled. I can get for $25 that console with 1,000 games built in for a $30 Chinese ripoff to do the same exact thing what you just said, Jan. So you're getting ripped off at $100 if I can get the same thing for 20 in China. It's all it is emulation, licensed emulation. It's you're not.
license. That's a
That's all it
good that's
is,
a good
man.
way to look at it.
Licensed multi-carts
Licensed
unlicensed
emulation. Yeah.
as opposed to unlicensed multi-carts that you get from China. Like it's the same shit. It's people
Like
trying to
like
capitalize
this
on it.
hard drive right here that I almost took my eye out. This
Uh-huh.
hard drive right here is from
Nice.
China, and it has 2 terabytes. It's a Batacera drive. It
Hmm.
has 2 terabytes, and you can literally plug it into any computer. Bought it
Right.
off of Amazon. You can plug it into any computer,
Right.
and it was $50. You could plug it into any computer, and it will boot up, and you literally have, I think there's like 10,000 retro games or something on it.
All
It's
right.
got
Right.
it's got everything from Atari all the way up to PlayStation 2. So
Yeah. So like
I
when I
mean,
see the Evocade, I'm like, nah, it's just everybody. It's whatever. It's nothing special. That's why I'm not gonna. People are gonna fight to defend it. I'm like, okay. Well, it's already been out there. I mean, it's all been here already. Been there, done that. It's just the next guy trying to make some money, a quick
that's
buck.
true. And Reyes says that's a good point, Joe. I like licensed gaming products like Evercade and the Neo Geo and Nintendo Minis. They're fun novelties to collect.
Yeah,
The
the Evercade is just like these multi-cade carts. They give you, I don't know. I just didn't like them, and everyone has it entitled. I always say
to
to each his own.
to each his own. Yeah, the licensing is the key word. A lot of people can play the games for free, but to have an official version of something is the draw for
Yeah,
collectors. But again, if you've been playing retro games all your life,
it's all been there.
when
Right,
they weren't retro games, it's all
right,
been there.
right,
And the idea of it being licensed or not licensed at this point is irrelevant because
right.
you've been playing these games for so long, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
So it's kind of funny because I look at it like all these the licensed emulation that you spoke about. It's no better than a Raspberry Pi. It's no better
exactly,
than
exactly.
it's no
Right,
better than
right.
this hard drive that I just showed.
You're
It's
not
no
getting any
better.
value by spending $100 on that Evercade, even though you think you are, and then you gotta buy each cartridge, right? Each cartridge comes what 10 games, but
Each cartridge is like $20, and it comes with
I,
like, it comes
I,
from anywhere between like 10 and 25 games or whatever. So it's kind of,
And
it
they're
just
arcade.
depends.
Are they arcade? Most of them are arcade ports in a handheld version, right?
Some are arcade, and some are
All right.
console
So
ports.
how do you play an arcade port in a handheld with a D-pad? That's not even an arcade port. Then you need an arcade stick to play your arcade games. That's why it's just moot, And if I wanted 16-bit versions of those games, I get the original versions of it. I don't need the emulated version of it. I don't need the licensed emulated version of it. I'll get I'll get the real thing. I'm not gonna play emulated Filios. I'll just buy the real Filios. I mean, I don't. That's just me. everyone's entitled to their own, way of doing things. I originally thought that Evercade was just complete like a cash in on the retro gamers. That's it. Someone
Yeah.
mentioned someone mentioned earlier in the chat about the one wheel regenerative braking. So regenerative braking works as like an alternator on a car. When like an alternator is spinning, it creates electricity. So when the one wheel is going like downhill, it's not using its own energy. So that spinning energy, like a turbine, is creating power. So and that's recharging your battery. That's what's called regenerative braking, I guess. I don't know. Someone had mentioned that, and I don't know. I figured I'd address that. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm moving along.
Oh, no problem. And Mike says Evercade is also going to be home for lots of indie games going forward, including one free new game each month if you own an online connected VS. Well, I
We
mean,
got a Steam Deck.
I've been playing all these I've been playing all these arcade machines and the thing. So I won't, the VS. I'll probably most likely skip. I'm not really
I can't do that
looking
VS.
into getting that. So it's
Yeah.
it's cool. But
I'll
Joe,
wait for the Amico.
Joe, what do you got? What do you got coming up, man?
So I'm doing another Intellivision video because I started a new series called the Intellivision Historian, which it's kind of like trolling the Amico haters. So yeah, I'm gonna try and put out a couple of episodes a month on classic Intellivision games, but each episode I'm not gonna be like, it's not gonna be like a generic shit that you've seen in the past. Each video is gonna be done with quality. I'm gonna go over the game, the history behind the game. We're gonna look at the manual, the contents, all the
Nice
hype behind the year that it came out and the meaning behind the game, and then we'll go into like some gameplay. Each episode's gonna be unique. It's just really not that much like video gaming material out there that inspires me. And right now, I feel like that's what I want to do right now. I'm going to do about maybe a 20 episode series with the Intellivision. And then I'll find something else next. I'm still going to cover my.
That's going to be great.
Yeah, no, I've been playing a lot of Intellivision lately. I've been like also like hunting for some rarer games. It's just like what I've been doing right now. I've been mostly arcade 1-up Intellivision, and then when I play on my PlayStation, it's usually like Star Wars Battlefront. I can never get away from Star Wars Battlefront. That's like my online shooter. When I need to destroy people, I'll go on with my friend and we will just we'll play heroes battles and just carve people a new asshole.
Awesome. Well, Joe, I want to thank you so much for being here with me
My
tonight.
pleasure.
You are an awesome guest, man. We got to do this again. You are awesome. This was so much fun. I swear to God, I can understand why so many people wanted me to have you on, because you came on and it was like I feel like I've been talking to you forever, man. And that's
same here.
That makes me feel real good when I can bring somebody on and I can just be vibing the entire time and have such a great time. But it's getting late now, so I don't want to hold everybody and hold you for too much longer. But
2 hours flew by.
I
couldn't believe it. I looked at the time and we've been talking for 2 hours. It went by quick.
For 2 hours, it just went by so fast. And again, this is what you can expect from late night Q&A. This is the kind of stuff that I try to do every week to give everybody something new and exciting to watch or to listen to. And hey, happy gaming, everybody. I'll be back next week. There'll be another guest. And of course, if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to TurboJoe. Link is in the description. I'm pretty sure everybody that was here, though, is already subscribed to you, Joe, because
a lot of familiar faces
a lot of familiar faces and friends in here. So, yeah, it's great stuff. But
fans of the three Amigos, fans of my channel, they're all in here tonight, man. That's awesome.
But thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you so much for the support. It means everything. And thank you again, TurboJoe. Good night, everybody.
Take care.